So here's what you're gonna need. You're gonna need some milk in 2 separate containers, here and here. You're gonna need some heavy cream, some vanilla, butter, cream cheese, 1 egg, 1 packet of dry yeast, salt, flour, all-purpose flour, some granulated sugar, some brown sugar, cinnamon, and nutmeg. Nutmeg is optional. I just got that butter sitting there for something else. And a thermometer. Now, you don't necessarily have to have a thermometer, but if you're not used to baking, you know. But then I'll tell you what to expect with that as I go along. So let's get started. Okay, so first thing you want to do is you're going to warm your milk up to about 115 degrees. You can put it on in the microwave for about 30 seconds. You could test it with a thermometer and make sure, but it's probably about 30 seconds. So first thing you do is you're going to take a teaspoon of sugar, because the sugar will feed the yeast. And then you want to put the yeast on top. Okay? And you're going to let that sit about 5 minutes. You can absolutely do this without a mixer. So in your stand mixer or a mixing bowl, you could do this by hand. Totally do this by hand. So you're going to make sure if you use the mixer, you're going to use your dough hook. And you're going to mix in the egg. The other milk. Salt, sugar, and the melted butter. Okay, so you're going to mix all those together just until combined, and then you're going to add half of your flour, which is 2 cups, and then you're going to mix, and then you're going to add the other half. Okay, so I'm going to show you what it's going to look like, and then you're going to add your vanilla. So the instructions and everything will be in the description box. So you're just gonna let this go. I'm gonna use a spatula to get it off the sides for a little bit. But once you add your other flour, it will come together better. This is just to mix it gradually so you don't have a big clump of flour at the bottom. Okay, so you're going to let this go for about 5 minutes. And you turn it up and let it go until it comes off the side of the bowl. Okay, so what you're going to do is once it comes together, you're going to, once it's totally mixed, you don't want to overmix this. So once you see that it's totally mixed, there's no dry flour, you want to stop. And you're going to take it out and put it into an oiled bowl. You can butter it, you can oil it, whatever you want to do. And then you're going to cover it with plastic wrap or a tea towel and put it in a warm place. I usually just turn my oven on, go ahead and preheat my oven and sit it over there because you're going to have to proof it twice, so you might as well go ahead and turn your oven on. So that's what you do. Okay, so now after you've let it rise for 2 hours in a warm place, you can just turn the oven on and sit it by the oven. You're going to push it down gently, and then you're going to get ready to roll it out. Make sure your countertop is clean. Make sure your countertop is clean and dry, I should say. Put some flour down, put a significant amount of flour down so that it doesn't stick. This dough is really delicate, but it rolls out really, really well. So, and it doesn't really stick, but you still want to take some precautions and put some flour down. So you're going to let that come out. You see how soft that dough is? This is how you know your dough isn't overworked. Do not overwork the dough. Let your mixer do the work. And even if you're doing it by hand, just mix it until that dough comes together, okay? All right, so now what I do is I put a little more flour on top, and I even put a little bit on my rolling pin. I'm using my mama's rolling pin, y'all. She had this rolling pin since I was a little girl. So, yeah. You see how easy that dough rolls out? You're going to roll it out. You want it to be about an eighth of an inch thick. So you're going to keep rolling it out. I'm not going to let y'all watch me roll the whole thing out, but you get the picture. Okay, so now that you have your dough rolled out, you're going to take some room temperature butter, and you're just going to rub it on there. I put on a glove because I just didn't want all that butter all over my hand. But you don't have to. You can use a brush or whatever. But my hand was just as quick, So I just rub it all over, and I try to get all the way to the edges and everything. Because this is so that your sugar and cinnamon mixture sticks. Okay? So there you go. Okay, now that you have it all rolled out and you have your butter on there, you're going to add your cinnamon, brown sugar, and I put a little nutmeg. The nutmeg is optional. I just like the taste of nutmeg. You're going to go through and add it. There's a few clumps. I go through and I smash those between my fingers, or you can just leave it. It's not that serious. It's going to melt. Or you can just drain you can sift it if you like, but I wasn't doing all that. But yeah. And I just try to then go through and just make sure it's distributed evenly. And you'll see where I even go through and try to do it later. So what I do is I roll, and I start rolling, and then I pull it towards myself, and then I roll under. See how I roll at the bottom? How I make sure it's rolled at the bottom? Because that is going to make sure that it's tight. I roll it down, then I roll it under again so that it is tight. Because you don't want loose cinnamon rolls. Never mind. Yeah, so you're just gonna roll. And I know some of y'all good at rolling, so don't act like you're not. I know y'all know about rolling. But so yeah, you're just gonna roll it, and then you're gonna get ready to cut it. So my way to roll it is just use some kitchen shears. I lift it up and I just cut, and I use the kitchen shears. And I cut them approximately the same size. You want to try to cut them the same size because you want them to bake at the same rate. But, if you want to sit there with a ruler and do that, that's you. But I wasn't about to do that. I just try to look at them and, make sure they're about the same size, So yeah, I'm going to continue to do that until they're all done. And I'll show you what they look like when they go in the pan. So you're going to put them in a 13 by 9 buttered dish or buttered pan and don't let them touch. And you're going to let them proof for an hour and a half in a warm place. And this is where what they look like after proofing or rising for an hour and a half. Like I said before, I just turned the oven on, and I had the oven on and I sat them near the oven. And now I'm going to add some melted butter on top. As you can see, they have risen and they've spread out and they are now touching. And that is cool. That's okay. So you're going to put them in the oven, a 350-degree oven, for 15 minutes. And then you're going to take them out. Okay, so after 15 minutes in the oven, you're going to take them out and you're just going to cover them with a little bit of heavy cream. You just want to put enough to cover each, to put some on each cinnamon roll. Okay. You're not trying to drown them. So I would say you're going to use about a cup in all, but I'm just, putting enough on each cinnamon roll as I see fit. And then you're going to pop them back in the oven for about 10 more minutes. Okay, so while the rolls are in the oven on their second go round, you're going to take your butter and cream cheese. It should be at room temperature. You can use a mixer, but I'm just going to do it by hand because it's soft enough that I can. And you're going to gradually add in your powdered sugar. Like I said, I will have all the measurements and everything in the description box. You're going to mix it gradually. You're going to be more careful than I am. You're not going to make a mess like I did. As you can see, the butter and the cream cheese was very, very soft, so it is mixing just fine, So now you're going to add in some heavy cream, 3 to 4 tablespoons, depending on the consistency of your cream cheese and butter. If your cream cheese was colder than mine, it probably is going to take a little bit more. But keep in mind, you got to add in your vanilla. So that's another liquid you're adding in. So keep that in mind. Once you add that, mix it up really well to see what the consistency is and see if you need to add more heavy cream. And then go from there. It should be a pourable consistency. Okay. Okay. Now they are done. I'm just going to pour the icing over. You don't have to use as much. You don't have to use this. Actually, you can half this recipe for the icing. It just depends on how much you want on there. But yeah, there we go. Okay, so here we go. Y'all, excuse, I got powdered sugar all over the place, even on me, child. They are done. Gonna take it out. I'm gonna show you how easy they come out of the pan. And this is a USA pan. I love their pan, so I'll leave the link to that pan in the description box. So that's it, y'all. That's the way they look. They were good. The kids said they were good, so hey. Why am I making all this stuff and I can't have it? Anyway, y'all, that is it. Y'all, thank y'all so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.